Hello and welcome to today's Snap Circuit SC-750 Extreme Project. Today we'll be doing project number 431, time delay 1 to 7 seconds. So this is from this SC blue book here that came with the SC-750 book. All this is an earlier project. There's nothing really different about it. Alright, so this requires 2 batteries. So let's get started with all the level 1 parts. So the first battery is going to go over at A9. Hanging off the edge again, but actually not quite so much as it did last time. And then the other all the way down here as it usually does. Okay, and the next level 1 part is the S2 press switch, interestingly enough, which is going to go over at A1, right over here. Okay, so the next part is the R2 resistor, the 1K ohm one. That's going to go over at B8 right over here. Okay, next, what looks like a D1 LED diode. So again, you need to make sure that the orientation is correct on these D1 diodes, because on here you can see the plus sign is to the left over here. So it needs to be like this, not like that. Otherwise, it may not work. It may also sabotage the part. So it's going to go down at E8 right over here. Okay, and next we're going to have a 4, which is going to be heading along G4, it looks like, right over here. Okay, now we're going to be having the fan motor, because this is a fan project. And by the way, the objective of this, I forgot to mention, is to build a time delay circuit. Okay, so this is going to go over at E7, which appears to be right over here. Although it appears that we have a little bit of an issue. Yes, E7. So it's just going to be like this, hanging off the edge for now. Yep, okay. So the next part is going to be the 1. It's going to be a 1 going over at C3, right here. Okay. And next we're going to have an R4 100K ohm resistor. That's going to be going over at F4, it appears to be. F4. You have to make sure you get the orientation of these things right too. It has to be just like this and not like that. So it's going to be over at F4, like I said. Right like here. Okay, next, oh yes, we have to put that one on. Next, we're going to be having the colossal S3 relay that was featured in the previous project number 633. So that's going to go over at A5, right over here. Okay, it's a bit tricky to get these S3s down. Okay, there we go. Next, we're going to be featuring a, what appears to be, is that it actually, for all the level 1 parts. There appears to be one more part. It's a 1 that's going to go over at E5, right down here. Okay. Alright, next we're going to be having level 2 parts, because I think we finally finished all the level 1s, which is going to include the L2 6-volt lamp socket, right here, or 30 amps, whatever you choose. That's going to bridge the gap between the S3 and the fan motor, just like this. Okay, next, we can get this to come on. There appears to be a slight issue here with the mounting of this fan motor. It looks like we messed some things up. And it's going to go at G7. The fan motor needs to be at G7, which is right over here. So yes, we messed up the placement of the 4, no wonder. So it's just going to be like this, so the fan motor can then go right here. Okay. Oh yes, and you also need to make sure that the orientation of this fan motor is such that the plus sign is over here, like it indicates on the drawing. Okay, now we can put the lamp socket on the usual way. Okay, now we're going to be having a 2, our first 2 all game, bridging the gap between this 4 and the fan motor. Okay, and then we're going to be having another 2, bridging the gap between this D1 LED and the B1 battery. Okay, now we're going to be having an S1 slide switch, just like this, going between the 2 batteries, as it usually does. Okay, And then another 2, which is going to bridge the gap between the S3 and the R2 1KO resistor. Okay. Next, we're going to be having, let's see here, anything else, an NPN Q2 transistor, just like this, and it's going to go over at D4, which appears to be right here. Alright, there we go. Next, we're going to be having a 4 again, which is going to go between the F1 and the F4. So just like this. Although we did forget from level 1 the huge long 6, which needs to go between up here by the S2 press switch and go all the way down to where our 4 is supposed to be, which is right over here. So it's going to be just like, let's see, just like this. There we go. Alright, that's better. Okay, so next we're going to be having the adjustable resistor RV from last time. And again, it's just going to be pointing this way, pointing up. That's very important. It's not supposed to be pointing this way, but this way. Orientation is very important here. So it's going to be going right. Oh yes, we forgot a 1 from the level 1, did we? Yes, we forgot. That's going to go over at D2, just like 3, 2. Okay. All right. So now this can go on. We do appear to have something. Yes, we do appear to have something fishy going on here because we forgot a 2. Because yeah. So I'm going to remove those 2, and then I'm going to put on the correct 2, which needs to be right over here, stabilization procedure. And it's going to be just like this, coming onto there, so that the 4 can go across, so that this can then go on, and finally, okay. And now, we're going to be having a 1, which is going to be up on here, in this pin of the S2, like so. And then we're going to be having a parade of 2s, which is going to end up going between, right over here on the S3, these 2 pins. And then, let's see, we're going to have a 3 that's going to be going on between the S3 over here and this top B1 battery pack, like that. Okay, so now we're going to be having another 2, bridging the gap between the R2 resistor and the D1 LED, just like that. Okay, now, let's see if there's anything else. Yes, we have a C5 crazy capacitor that is 470 ultrafarads, bridging the gap between the 6 here and the 4, just like that. Okay. Next, let's see if there's anything else that we need to be doing. Yes, it appears that we need to have 1 that's going to be going over at this pin of the 4, just like here. Okay. Is that correct? Let me just make sure. Oh, yes, it's supposed to be over here, actually. Okay. Now, I think we finally finished the level 2 parts. Now, let's get on to level 3, the final level. So that's going to include a D3 here. I'm not exactly sure what this D3 does, but this is what it looks like right here. Okay. So that's going to go right over in. And orientation is very important. It applies to even this D3. So it needs to be, the plus needs to be right over here. It needs to be pointed down, this arrow. Not like this, because that might damage the circuit. So that's going to go between the NPN Q2 and the 4 here. Actually, no, the 1 that we just put down. Okay. And now, we're going to be having, let's see, the R1 100 ohm resistor, the base one, going between the RV here and the NPN Q2. Just like that. Alright, and now we're going to be having another 3, which is going to go between the S2 press switch and this 2 over by the S3. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Oh yes, we do need the fan, although I usually like to wait that till the very end. Let's see, is there anything else on this circuit? Level 3 parts, that might actually be, oh yeah, we forgot it too. We almost forgot it. So that's going to be over at, if I can get it out, bridging the gap between these 2 tubes, just like this. Okay. And I think that might finally be it it over here. We look to be all good, like we didn't miss any parts or anything. Yep, alright. So now I'm going to put the fan blade on, and we're going to start operating the circuit to conclude. Just like that. Okay. So, the instructions: the length of the time of the motor M1 runs depends on the position of the adjustable resistor RV right over here. So, what we need to do is we need to turn it on. See, this red D2 lights. So when the press switch S2 is pressed, the 470 ultrafarad capacitor C5 charges. As it is released, the C5 discharges to the resistors R4 and RV. Alright. There we go. It's storing. Yep, it clicked off. So I'm going to hold it down for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1. Oh yes, it goes off almost immediately. So yes, because the RV is all the way to the left. So let's set it to a long discharge time all the way to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, it takes quite a while for it to go off. So let's do it in the middle and see what happens. So it should go off now. Perfect. All right. So this is a success. And again, this was project number 431. The time delay 1 to 7 seconds. Again, this was Snap Circuits SC-750 Extreme. Goodbye.